Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you the process and the journey that I took to make this Embryo Dino Light for my cousin's birthday. Here I've started with a simple sketch mock-up to get an idea of what generally I wanted it to look like. I actually found an STL on file online, and here's me printing it out and taking it out. I glued it together, but there were some gaps in the file when I printed it. All filled in. And it's all primed. Ready to get the base color? All base color is all set and done on there. Got my painting supplies out, and here I begin to do the detail work for the paint job, such as, blue stripes down her side. Here I've just kind of started putting white down. First I painted white just to kind of map out how I wanted the stripes to look, as well as trying to make the blue pop once I actually put the paint down. This is taking a while. This is really long. Oh, here I'm doing the eyes. Got that yellow in there. Ah, here comes the blue. Here I am doing the blue stripes. Finally! Got that blue up in there, nice and vibrant after putting that. Is that even white or is that vanilla? I think I painted it vanilla. Oops. Well, here I am just layering the blue on top of blue on top of blue on top of blue, so that it's nice and vibrant and ready for the next step. Here I have an acrylic tube and my painted blue, as well as an acrylic rod. I'm mapping out how far down I want to cut it, just to kind of see where I want him to be in the middle. Here I am just doing that with my hands. Once I get the line out, as you can see, it's very uneven, but done. It's about like 5 inches, I can imagine. Now I'm going to actually take a little dot of UV resin, and I'm going to cure it with my little nail lamp so that it's on a nice little pedestal. Look at that. Beautiful. Mwah. Nice and done. Nice little joke in there. So then I put him on like a little pad, and this is where I made my first mistake. So here I am doing 2-part epoxy resin, just making sure, everything's measured out nicely on my little scale there. I mix it up, make sure it's all was it androgynous or homologous? I don't know. And so just mixing and pouring the resin with no prior experience. What could possibly go wrong? It went very wrong. Wasted resin. And so I had to start all over. Here I am with a new tube. I've got a nice little base there with some foam, getting ready to make the base because I was kind of fed up with doing all the resin stuff. So I decided to focus on something else, measuring it out, trying to see what I kind of wanted to do. Alright, and here I am with my pasta maker and my clay. That looks really gross. Putting clay through it for the first time was gross. Once it started coming together, though, it was like frickin' butter. With a nice flat bed of clay, I start mapping out the external components, like just the outer shell. You can see here that I put a marker on the cylinder just to kind of see how much clay I would need. What I had here was definitely not enough. Cutting out some straight edges just to make sure everything's nice and clean and just mwah! Delicious. Cutting again. And still cutting, Juliana. You're still cutting. Look at that. Mwah! Clean. Here I am, so I am going to be putting the clay on the outside just to make sure it fits nice. I did not, as you can see, I did not have enough clay. So I had to cut out some more, but it looked pretty good. Here, I actually put some saran wrap around it, and I put everything together. Looking good, nice and put together, and I actually had to pre-bake it so it would keep its shape before completely baking it, and man, that took forever. The tube even started to smell while I did it, but it worked pretty well, but I'm pretty sure the fumes were kind of toxic. Here I am. Oop, look at that. Sliding the little frigile thing onto the baking sheet. Going to bake it. Oh, it's nice and baked. It did crack when I took it out though. But now I'm marking it in two different parts, the top and the bottom, so that, well, for the top and the bottom. They broke while I was cutting it, so it not only broke when I took it out, but it broke more. It will hurt when you get cut. Alright, so because I cut myself doing this, I actually had to sand them just to kind of get them to be more straight and just like smooth. And then after the clay baked, you can see the gaps. So I had to come up with a new idea, and so I slapped out some more clay. Boom. And I had to cut out a couple strips of flattened clay. So what I ended up doing was using some Bacon Bond and those three little pieces right there. I'd slather it on a silicone little piece, and then basically paint on the adhesive onto the clay, and just slabbing that little piece right in the middle of it, so that it's like a fun little detail to add to more mechanical components of it, but also covering up my mistake. Here I am using little worms to just, you know, clean out the inside, because you're going to be able to see it on the inside. Ooh, look at that transition. All done. It actually kind of looked pretty. I was actually really proud of this. I thought it would look pretty cool. This was the little light fixture that I bought. This is to make sure that it fit really well on top of it, so that it still slides in and it fits really nicely on top. Mwah. There, I did not show me making the base, but I did end up making the base off camera, and I cut out a little hole for the cord. Don't know what that hand gesture was, but everything seems to fit pretty well. Look at that. I was very happy with it. What was this for? Oh, I was making a tube. So here I am texturing it a wee bit, making it look like all tubey and stuff. And then, ooh, look how pretty. Using some more Bacon Bond to stick all those pieces together, keeping everything together so I knew exactly what it was going to look like. Look at that glob. That was not a satisfying glob. Sticking that to the thing. Ooh, look at it. Ooh. And then I made little buttons. Beautiful. Mwah, gorgeous. Nice and mechanical. Ooh, I even made a little vent here. Look at that. Took my finger. Ooh, it's really sticky. And then putting that together. So here I actually used the advantage of sticky fingers to make some texture on there, because I really wanted it to look rusty and just kind of worn, and I'm still learning how to model correctly, so this was kind of just like my first idea, thought, and just kind of, after watching a bunch of videos, I just kind of went for it. There we go. Get that texture in there. Nice and rusty. Look, so here I added a bar, and I added some other buttons and components on top just to kind of get it all done. Another vent. Now that is going to go get baked on its own. Bye. Hello. Here we are, all nice and baked, ready to go. Okay, now we're going to be putting some texture on the foam base, and to do that, we are going to be using Apoxie Sculpt. Apoxie Sculpt is a two-part clay where, you know, you put it together in two parts and then you slap it on something, you can sculpt it. It's only good to really sculpt with it for like an hour, maybe 2, because it starts to harden and it really starts to stiffen within about 4 hours, and it actually fully cures within 24. So this was like me making batches and then just kind of slapping it on there to make it concrete texture as much as possible on the outside. So if you see there, that's actually an old paintbrush that I got resin on and could not get out. And so that made a beautiful concrete texture. Look at it. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Delicious. Now I'm going to be making wooden planks for the top of it. Here I am leveling everything out. Cutting all those pieces out, making it look good. Ooh, that was sassy. That was a sassy little rip of clay. Now this is where it got a little tricky, but thankfully because of this flexible cutter, I was able to just kind of pull it out. Cut it, flex it out. Ooh, that one got a little stuck. But they all came out pretty decent. They were a little long, but they came out pretty good. Yeah, now throughout this whole journey, I've never created a big project like this. This is kind of my first attempt at not only recording, but also finishing like a big project. I've done some sculptures. Ignore that. I've done some sculptures in the past, but this was definitely a big challenge as I had a lot of learning curves. Like creating wood texture here for the first time. Trying to figure out what to do with that, you know? Like making the little knots and then drawing it all together. As you can see, I definitely should have leveled them out a lot more because they were all the same size, and you'll see, but at the end product, it does look very different. But you know what? I did my best. It was my first try. I've been sculpting for quite a while, but I have not been really taking it seriously until recently. Ooh, look at that. A top view of the wood texture. Just to kind of see the process, you can see I'm just kind of dragging my little ball stylus tool around it. Kind of like using like a pencil and just drawing it super soft because this is Cosclay, and Cosclay is super just soft to work with, especially the one that I have. There I am. I'm just kind of drawing out where I need to cut it. Ooh, get some shoulder, some hair. Yes, I am a weird dirty blonde / kind of brownish texture. Ooh, nice and crisp. Oh, and here I'm using my little dental tool to make the floorboard. So not only did I make the wood texture, but I made everything look like boards instead of using like popsicle sticks because I just kind of really wanted to sculpt it out and just like push past my comfort zone. Plus, I'm the kind of person that tries to go all out and then underestimates my skill level. So, and then I surprise myself sometimes, and then sometimes I have a hard time with it. So, here I am surprising myself. It may not be perfect, but it's pretty decent. And here I am using the heat gun. Yeah, you can see that little dent in my mat. That's because that mat is not meant for heat, and so it permanently bent it up from doing this project. Here I am just kind of flash curing it, and there it is on top. I cut out a middle piece so that the light could actually come through it, but as you can see, it's like super tiny. There's like an extra little gap there that I did not intend for, and I was going to plan on filling it in with the other pieces, but I decided inevitably to not do that. And as you can see here, I just added more concrete texture to the side to kind of fill in the gaps. Now I know this isn't very traditional toward like the embryo type ordeal, but it just kind of felt right in the moment, so I went with it, and it looks good. Alright, so now I get to the painting stage. So I started with a light brown base on those wood boards, just to kind of get like a base color down, especially because I only have like one brown color. I definitely probably should have mixed it with a little bit of black. And here I am putting another base coat on top of this. Yeah, what's that? Yeah, so I'm doing a gray base coat on the metal components just to make sure that everything looks like nice and that the ink that I later will use will stick better to the piece. Alright, so here I'm using my fan brush to kind of add some rust. I've never really done rust before, but I really wanted this to look aged, so I gave it a shot. And all the textured little pieces that I did before with the bacon bond, I'm now putting paint over. So I used a mix of like red, orange, and I guess, what was it? Was it like a brown? I think it was brown, red, and orange that I used. And that was the final result. I think it came out pretty good, although the rust does kind of look like it's not, you know, looks very centralized. But here we are with the new piece, and then I put another tube in there. Put another tube on, this time on a piece of fiberglass, and here I am opening up my brand new vacuum pump. Just enjoy the unboxing. Ugh, there we go. Here is the pump. Look at that. All set up. And then some more hair. And the vacuum chamber. Here I'm going to be doing the epoxy again. So the reason that the resin got wasted the first time was because of the bubbles. And because of how fast it was curing. So I ended up taking that model out and then putting it in this piece where I'm now mixing all of it together, and then I had a really big struggle with the vacuum chamber. Mix, 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 mix into your next mistake. Boom, transition into the vacuum pot. And I tried really hard to make this vacuum pot work, and I had no idea, absolutely no idea what I was doing. It's sucking those bubbles out, and then it got super like bubbly, and I just didn't know what I was doing, and I was recording the whole time. Yeah, see how I'm like pouring it out and then trying to fix everything. Here I was like last ditch effort, so I took a lighter and just kind of kept lighting trying to get the bubbles out as I poured it, which was dumb, but here we are. And my arm is in the way, so you can't even see me doing this. My god. And it's still super bubbly. Alright. Now, I was trying to do them in small batches. It was a disaster. This whole thing was a disaster. And so I kept just like trying to suck out little bits of it, and then I was pouring them in, and I did this over and over and over again until it was full. Keeping that resin out because you can't waste any. Ooh, putting in more resin. Delicious. Look at it. Oh, it's painful to watch. It's so painful to watch. I put in so much effort. Can't waste it. Can't frickin' waste it. Yeah, the bubbles were more sparsed out, but like, they were still there. They were still super prominent. Boom, transition. And here I am with a whole other thing of resin. I have no idea what I was saying there. Plus, Oh no. Here I go. So, here I am with this resin, scraping it out. This was a mess to do, by the way, especially at my desk. Goodness gracious. Scraping my glove into the thing, can't waste a single drop of that. You can see my hands were all sticky. What was I doing? Oh god, and here I go. So, the same thing with the lighter last time. This time I decided to use my heat gun. So here I am, actually learning from my mistakes, and I'm just heating up the resin as it pours out, and it's freaking like splashing on the outside a little bit. Do you not see the disaster? Oh, because I didn't want any bubbles in my epoxy. Good. I should have done more research. I just kind of went for it. I was super excited, and I don't know why, but I always have to learn the hard way, and this was definitely hard. The cracks of doom. Bro, it cracked through the model. Completely through it. And I didn't even know that it turns out there's a specific resin for these types of projects, and I didn't even know it existed. So here I am on Amazon. You're supposed to use deep pore resin? Deep pore resin. Made for it. So here I am with another tube. And I'm just hot glue sealing the bottom of it. Just so it don't leak out. All nice and put together, nice and sealed. This time, instead of using the rod, I decided to use fishing wire. Here I am just tying the fishing wire around the poor lad's neck. Here, I am just preparing where I want him to be. So as you can see, I'm super gluing a popsicle stick to this top. I used a very little amount of super glue so that it was just tough enough to not move. And here I go getting super glue all over my fingers. Nice little treat. And you can't see it from how I'm holding it, but I'm tying two separate parts. As you can see here, I tied two separate parts to make sure it dangles. Here I am preparing the resin. The new resin, the deep pore resin, not the epoxy 2-part, because it will crack your model. Look at that. Woo, look at the transition. It's nice and homogeneous. It's nice and done up and finished. Now we are pouring it in. And I was trying to use this stick to kind of control the flow. And this was mistake number 2. I took out the fishing line too early. And so he ended up squishing into the epoxy. As you can see, I had to prop it out with like a water bottle just to kind of keep it from going more into like a bad position. And as you can see, it was already tilted really far. And so here we go. He's all nice and cured after a few days. He's not going anywhere. And we're preparing number 2. This is just to get the rest of it in there. Though I will, in the future, I will just kind of be, ooh, look at, nice and mixed together. Good transition, Julie, good transition. Here I'm just pouring it in, and in the future I will just be pouring it in with the fishing line intact and just kind of preparing for that. So like making sure that like the fishing line tied together, like the knots are hidden, boom, nice and up there with a little bit of space for the mechanical components as well as some silicone water ripples I'll be adding later. Alright. Yep, so after that cures, we're going to be using some quick seal. And here I added the quick seal. I did not record me putting it on. It just it goes on white, dries clear. And here I am. I made a specific black wash out of water and acrylic paint just to make that wood a lot darker and to grime up the concrete. Make sure everything is nice and dark and grimy. Even getting that concrete over there just to get it nice and dark and just kind of dirty. Now I'm actually just fully putting it on the concrete just to get really into those crevices. Doing that on all sides just to make sure that everything is good. More of me washing it. And I'm actually doing a black wash on top of that as well. Alright, now that that's all set, I'm just sketching out a circle so that I can make the grate out of like a quick little thing of cardboard. I was really on a already way past where I wanted to finish this project, and so I just kind of made a quick one out of some cardboard. Cutting out that circle super carefully with that knife because the last time I held that knife I cut my finger pretty bad on that clay. Look at that. Gotta cut it out some more, but there you go. Yeah, I got a nice little circle. See now? Fits right on top. That's exactly what I want. Boom. Fits like a glove. I approve. Here I am sketching out a circle just to kind of get where I want the grate pattern to be. Like where I want it to begin and end. Using my ruler to get a nice straight line and my nice little pen. And here I am just going to be cutting out the lines. Alright, so here I am just going to be putting a gray base on it. And onto the final results. Throughout this project, it was a very big, very new process for me. I made a lot of mistakes, I learned a lot of things. But came out pretty decent, especially for my first try. Let there be light. Well, to whoever watched this, I thank you for coming on the journey with me. This was very frustrating, irritating, fun, scary, and definitely something that I don't regret doing. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.